We're going to celebrate the life today of Miss Cissy Houston and her musical repertoire and all that she has given us throughout her years of performing. And we also want to honor the life of her daughter, the great Whitney Houston. So we want to lift Miss Cissy Houston up with love. I don't know if any of you know, many of you might know that this past Friday was Whitney Houston's birthday, and she would have been 50 years old. Whitney captured our attention with her charm and her great looks. She made us fall in love with that voice, and she amazed us with all facets of her talent. She won 2 Emmys, and she appeared in 4 motion pictures. Well, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, right? Mm-hmm. And Miss Cissy Houston has left her mark on this music industry. And see, this is kind of personal for me because I grew up in Elizabeth. I have any Elizabeth people here? Yeah. Okay. I grew up in Elizabeth, and I grew up listening to WNJR 1430 on your dial, okay? And I used to listen to Cissy Houston as I washed dishes, peeking out the window, wondering who I am, what I was going to be in life. And so to have her here with me today is like life comes full circle, all right? So without any further ado, I want to introduce Miss Cissy Houston. We want to first give all the glory to God, and for a number of years, Miss Houston was the musical director at New Hope Baptist Church. She is a two-time Grammy Award-winning artist. And she is the recipient of the Rhythm and Blues Pioneer Award. She is the founder of the Sweet Inspirations, a background vocal group that revolutionized background singing. And she is the mother of Whitney Houston, a 7-time Grammy Award winner, and won the Billboard Award 31 times and the American Music Award 22 times. I need for all of y'all to stand to your feet and help me welcome Miss Emily Cissy Houston to the stage of Two River Theater in Red Bank, New Jersey. So happy that you're here. I'm honored that you're here, Miss Cissy. I'm going to call you Miss Cissy. I feel very comfortable with that. Is that okay?
Well, I have 4 doctorates. That would be really nice if you call me doctor.
Doctor. Okay. 4 doctorates. I missed that one. So, Dr. Houston, okay? First, I want to tell all of you, I met Dr. Houston at a book signing a few months ago in Elizabeth. And when I approached the table, like everyone else with my book, I tried to engage Miss Houston, Dr. Houston, in some small talk, okay? And I went on to tell her, you know, I was at a book signing with your niece, Dion. And Dr. Houston looked at me like, and what that got to do with me? But I knew the look. I knew the look because I grew up seeing that look myself from my grandmother, and she was like, okay, you're dismissed. All right, so I took my book and I left, all right? And now here we are.
Are you sure I did that?
Yes, you did. Okay, so I want to start off saying that I read the book. The book is very compelling, and I commend you on your honesty in what you brought to this book. because I know things have a way of being unauthorized and going out there. So
That's exactly why I wrote it.
and I'm proud to say that I'm happy you did it for that reason. So it's coming straight from you, Whitney's mother. So I want to start off by asking you, when did you know that Whitney really had it that separates the greatest from the best?
Well, I don't think you know that until it actually happens. Her first song, came out, and
You Give Good Love.
Initially, it just went,
Through the roof.
And it was surprising, not surprising, but yet surprising, because everything that you think, is going to be the one. It doesn't necessarily have to be so. But I was very proud that she had gotten to that one, and it just continued and continued and continued. So that I was very proud of. She worked very hard at her craft, and I taught her to do exactly that.
I know we're going to get to that because I know you were a real taskmaster. So and like yourself, Whitney started singing in the church. You write in the New York Times best-selling book, Remembering Whitney: My Story of Love, Loss, and the Night the Music Stopped, that you were really hard on her when she decided to be a singer. So how so?
Well, just singing is not an easy thing. You have to, really be real about it, and you have to really want to do it. And in order to do it properly, then you have to learn the proper way of doing it. And it's a lot more to singing than just opening your mouth and doing, and everything comes out all right. It takes a while to learn where to breathe from, where to sing from, because you have 3 or 4 different places in your body that music comes from.
Yeah.
And you usually use it all if you're a real good singer.
Oh, see, we're going to learn some things here today, guys. And you would tell her, bring them to their knees.
Right.
All right. So, as her instructor, those were your directions when she was singing at the church. So, what is your recipe for that? Bringing the congregation to their knees. What does that take?
Just doing the best that you do. What you do. Sing from your heart. And if you're singing from your heart and you're feeling it, then someone else is going to feel it. If you're not feeling anything, then usually nobody else is going to feel it either. So that's what that is. That was just a different way of me saying it. So just do the best you can, what you know how to do.
But you guys had some times there because she would be upset with you on the way home because you have really worked her overtime and was on her case.
Well, it didn't matter. Really? I was a mother. I didn't care what I didn't put up with that.
So Nippy was the nickname that your husband John gave her, right? As a child, he gave his baby girl. So who was Nippy?
Nippy was a really wonderful little girl, the little one that all of us loved, and she used to say when she got to be us now, I have to go out and be Whitney now, and so, but she was very giving and very, very particular and very all of that, And very loving.
When she had to go out and be Whitney, is there a difference?
Of course there's a difference. She was on stage then, and she had to give people what they wanted, which was of herself. It was not, I don't know whether it was such a difference or not. It was more added to what she had, or just being a simple self. When you go out and face the audience, you got different people listening to everything that you do, so you have to be perfectly, almost perfect, if you can be, And she just gave all that she had. And that's the way she was taught. Give all you can.
Give all you got. That voice of hers that took us all by storm almost didn't happen. Can you tell us about that freak accident when you had an inkling as a mother, you were all the way, I believe, in Las Vegas, and you had
California.
an inkling as a mother that something was not right at home, and you picked up the phone.
I did.
And you called, and
I asked, was my children okay? And my husband said, yeah, they're fine, but they didn't sound right. So I said, what's the matter? Is Nippy okay? You know. But she had fallen, running, playing with her brother, and fallen on a hanger. How she wound up with a hanger in her mouth, I'll never know. But you know how children are, that's just the way they are. And she had fallen, and the hanger went into her mouth and almost severed her
vocal cords.
And luckily, God was,
God was with her.
Her father took her to the hospital, and he had to hold her while they sewed that back together there. So afterwards, doctors and all say, well, maybe that's where she got that. I said, no. Probably there before then. There was somebody else up there made her, But that was, she did have it. I talked to her, and she said, hi, Mommy.
Because she was only 4 years old, right? About 4 years old.
Yeah, I suppose about 4 years, yeah. And she wasn't talking right, so then he had to come and tell the truth. I said, I'm not falling for that now. What's up with my baby, So he told me what had happened, and it was just prayerful,
Now, you were the youngest of 8 siblings. Your mother died when you were 8 years old, and your father passed when you were 18. 19. And your dad had groomed the Drinkard Singers, your musical family. How did these set of circumstances mold you into the person that you are today?
Well, I had a sister exactly like me. She didn't take no mess. She raised me. She raised all of us.
Which sister was this?
Marie. Well, both of my sisters. My other older sister was already married, and Dion's mom.
That's Dion's mom.
And she had Dion and was expecting another. So my mother died. So. And but my sister was very, she was stricter than I liked it. But nonetheless, it didn't matter to her, But she raised us really good.
How would you like for your daughter to be remembered?
I'd like for everybody to know how wonderful she was and how good she was as far as giving. And when she sang, when she did the national anthem, she gave all that money to the veterans' wide families. That's what she did. She didn't take that money,
Yeah.
She went out to where was that? Detroit out there, Indiana, when they had the steelworkers strike.
Right.
She did a concert for them. She gave all that money to them. She had a hospital bed, a room in the hospital UMDMJ in Newark, and that's where she helped the border babies.
Really?
That's what she did, and she supported that. She supported young girls who had children, and they had children, and their parents put them out. Some of them was in the street. She had a rainbow house, which she gave money to that. So she was a very giving, wonderful person, what I'm saying? Nobody's perfect, and everybody makes mistakes.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's just the way it is.
That's
and I just want everybody
She
to
was
know
very
that.
giving. So it
Very
seems like she had a
giving.
very giving heart
Very giving.
in helping people. While many seek fortune and fame in this music industry, what kept you grounded?
I guess I was an older person when I went out there. I've been singing since I was 5 years old. But I had my sisters, and we sang all, together. So I didn't do much of anything but sing, because we were very well, I couldn't go out there with my daughter as I wanted to when she went out there. I had to send her with someone. My best friend went with her. And
Is that Bay?
yeah.
Aunt Bay.
You know Bay.
Aunt Bay.
Where you know Bay from?
I know Bay from the book.
All right. Good answer.
That's where I know Bay from.
Yeah, my best friend, she went out with her. And because at that time I was,
You were still singing.
Yeah, singing and working.
Working?
And all of my kids were, the two oldest was getting ready to go to high school and college. And all of that kind of business.
So Miss Dr. Houston, her musical family, the Drinkards, all right, were invited to perform at the Newport Jazz Festival.
Mm-hmm. With Mahalia.
With Mahalia Jackson, Clara Ward, and Rosetta Tharpe. Were they?
No. We've sung with Rosetta.
We sang with them at Carnegie Hall.
No, everywhere. We did everything. I got tired of singing.
But when you did that, when the Drinkard Singers sang at Newport Jazz Festival, that was a life-altering moment. Yeah. How did your life change from that point?
I was pregnant when I was up there, so it changed a lot. Yeah. I had my first baby in 1957. But I was a grown woman.
Didn't you, after that, is when you signed with RCA?
Yeah, we were the
first gospel
group to sign with RCA.
Victor record label.
The Joyful Noise.
Yes, and I found it striking because you have worked for RCA Electronics in Elizabeth for like 10 years.
12 years.
12 years, excuse me. 12 years she worked, and then she got signed to the RCA record label.
One has nothing to do
I know,
with the other.
but I just thought, RCA. So you were born and raised in Newark, so you're a homegirl. You're a homegirl.
I sure am.
What was it? She's a homegirl.
Absolutely.
What was it like when you first heard your record on the radio?
It was wonderful, I suppose. Yeah, we had a good time. That's what you strive for when you go out and you do things like that. You strive for it, to hear it, for it to be a success, and all of that kind of things. And we sang with all of the people. We didn't go on the road because my father believed in holding a job and seeing about your home first, and that's exactly what we did, So we made a little money, but it wasn't enough to, we did it because that's what we wanted to do.
It was your ministry. It seemed to be your family's ministry, the singing.
Absolutely.
Had nothing to do with trying to gain fame and fortune.
No.
It was spreading the word. That's what Dad
That's exactly what it was.
Instilled in you.
Mm-hmm.
But while you were out there on that gospel circuit, you did meet the leader of the Soul Stirrers, whose name happened to be Sam Cooke. And I believe you dated him.
Wow. Kind of. My sisters wasn't having it. They weren't having no dating too much. We almost did.
Okay.
Yeah, he was quite a bit older than me, so I was since like 18, 17, 18, 19, something like that. And my sisters were,
Not him.
No.
But you got to a stage and a point in your life too, and that you write about in the book, that when you got ready to be with John Houston, who was your second husband, and your sisters didn't really care for that either, but you got to a point where you didn't care anymore what they
what I'm
thought.
saying? Was in love. Well, they didn't. Like, he was 13 years older than me, so they weren't really ready for that either. But at that point, I was living my own life. I knew what I wanted to do, and it turned out great. I had a great husband, and we had a great life together.
But your husband, he had kind of different ideas for your career when it came to you singing and maybe being a solo act.
No, he supported me in whatever I did, because I was doing backgrounds and whatnot. I had formed a group of backgrounds. In fact, one of my kids is here that used to work for me.
I know. When she came into the reception, she said she's going to be so surprised to see me.
I was so surprised.
Yes, so that was nice.
She worked with me. She was in my choirs, and actually, she sounds a lot like me.
Really? Mm-hmm. We all remember the song by Aretha Franklin, Ain't No Way. Yeah. And you hear that soaring soprano in the background. That's Dr. Houston.
Man.
Yes, and you struggled. You struggled at first, moving from like gospel to the secular sound.
I never struggled. It was a struggle for everybody else.
Yeah, yes. There you go.
No, I never struggled. I'm a firm believer in God, and I think if God gives you a talent, you have to use it in the manner in which you need to use it in, but make sure it's wonderful, and that's what I did. I did what I could care less what people said. They say you're serving two gods, I said, well, something's wrong with you, because I know there isn't but one. So you have to really make up your own mind to do what you have to do for yourself, and I think that anybody who gets injured, you have to watch what you do, where you do, how you do, all of that. And you got to think in this life. So young people, keep it moving. Keep your head going around. Don't let anybody just tell you anything. Do anything anybody says. You have to be a leader, not a follower.
Thank you. Yes. So let's talk about the sweet inspirations.
Oh, they was bad.
The sweets. How did I grew up listening to the Sweets on the radio.
I know you better.
And how did that come to be?
Well, I started, they asked for background singers, and I got a group together. That most of them were from my choir.
Okay.
I tried to give everybody a chance because I was in, into the hiring people and that.
You were like a contractor, right?
I was a contractor.
That hired the background singers.
So I took who I wanted to take, or whatever. And the Sweets just happened to become, but we were regulars at that point. When I had to do big groups, then I had like 16 people or something, I'd give everybody and just call them on in. But they had to be good. And they were. They were. They wanted to do it, and they gave a lot of young people an opportunity to earn money. And the money was good, so much an hour. Kids don't make it, and sometimes we took 5-6 hours.
Okay.
To do 3-4 songs,
Now you write in the book that you had an opportunity that came your way to fill in for some background work for your niece Dion. And you write in the book, and I quote,
"Yeah, that's how it started.
That's how my journey into background work began, a journey that would change not only my life, but the recording industry." So tell us about how the Sweet Inspirations, because I think a lot of people are not aware of how the Sweet Inspirations revolutionized background singing.
Well, Dion used to work with the Shirelles and all that. She was the very first one in it when I was having babies, you know what I'm saying? And she couldn't make it. She got a job with the Shirelles, and that's when she sang with them for quite a while, and Burt Bacharach and all that. And she couldn't go. My husband was their manager.
Oh, your husband was the manager for the Shirelles?
For the kids, for those kids. They had a little group, 3 of them.
Okay.
See, what happened is we were working, the Drinkard Singers was working at the Apollo.
Mm-hmm.
And they came in, somebody came and said, you know any background singers? You don't know any background singers? So Jackie Burdell, who said, you got to reach singers, John, you know. And he said, yeah. Well, and they went in, they started a little background thing. So they did that. And then she couldn't make a session one night because she was with them, and I had just had a baby about a month, and my husband said, well, I don't know, I can't take this gig. He said, well, do you think you could? I said, but he wrapped me up real good, you know, and we went, and then they wanted me to continue. That was the beginning of my when I sang the part. They wanted me to do it, and I did it. And I worked like from 9 to 6 in the morning, you know, and I was real tired. I said, I don't know whether I'm gonna do this or not. But how it happened, you know, it became my career.
Yes.
And that's how I, started.
But
From then on, I started picking, when they wanted me. Dee Dee, my other niece, left the group to be a single, and I brought in another girl from my choir, Myrna, and another girl, my Judy, who used to sing with Judy Clay. I'm sure you all know her. Mm-hmm. Her sister. I brought in, and that made the 4 of us. And Estelle, who sang with Dee Dee, and she used to belong to a church over here in New York. So I put all them together. First it was the 3, and then I put together the 4th one. And everybody was wondering how we got that sound so full and whatnot. But see, that was my secret. Because what it does was put you into the whole thing is covered, the whole, the voices are just covered.
All the voices.
Yeah, the bottom voice covers the top voice. And then you have the inner voices, soprano and the alto.
And you were very improvisational with the music. You would actually ask the person, the artist, if you could try something different.
Well, they had, at first it was a thing where they have something written out that would sometimes work and sometimes didn't. So what I started doing, I said, I can do better than this, So. And I'd bring in something else. I said, can we do something else? How would you like to say? Well, I guess so, blah, blah, blah. And we started. Hey, it's history.
Mm-hmm. And are you aware that they made anybody aware of the movie called 20 Feet from Stardom? Yeah. About background singers?
Yes. I don't know. I wasn't in that.
That's what that was a faux pas. Something
well, I think
wrong.
You know what
they
that
didn't
was.
do their research.
No. Well, actually, they asked me.
Oh, they did?
Yeah, they did.
Okay.
And they wanted everything for free. I wasn't doing that.
Okay.
And but it was like mostly the West Coast. See, Darlene and all of those people came from the West Coast.
Mary Clayton?
Yeah, Mary Clayton, who sang with Ray Charles, who was all on the West Coast. We were East Coast, down in Georgia, Las Vegas and all that kind of stuff. So, which they did some of that too. Mm-hmm. So we're just 2 different groups. We had different sounds. Yet, I sang with them. You know, Darlene and I sing. Every year I do her concert.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Darling Love. Now, at the height of your career, when the Sweet Inspirations were really swinging, and you were going all over the place.
Sure.
All over the place, from one city to the next, all over. In 1968, you was, singing with back up for Aretha Franklin, Dusty Springfield.
Everybody.
Jimi Hendrix on the Electric Lady album. Luther Vandross you sang backup for.
My dear friend.
Who you met at the Apollo when he was only 16. What brought that
He
about?
played hooky from school.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah, he played hooky from school and came to see us, the Sweet Inspirations, because, as you know, Luther was a great, great singer.
Oh,
he was
yes.
just starting out then. And he came and he heard us and he just went crazy. You're the best group I ever heard.
Y'all had on your yellow chiffon gowns.
Yeah. And he said, and that's when he just started, we became friends after that. And then he wouldn't do a session without me after he became,
Wow.
And I started working with him, not on stage, but not out.
In the studio.
No, just
You
the
did
studio work. I
with
did
him.
all of his studio work.
Wow, great. And then you toured with Elvis Presley. And Elvis the Pelvis.
Elvis was great.
But you said he was he remembered you guys from the Drinkard Sisters from when you were
he asked
up
for
at
us
Newport
then.
Jazz Festival.
Yes, he asked for us then. But my sisters and brothers, no, they weren't. You had to work. I was ready to go, but they knew better. But yeah, he was a great friend of mine too.
Really?
All of us.
I've heard people say wonderful things about him. That he was. I happened to visit.
Well,
Graceland.
that might have happened, and you don't know what people said to him. You know what I'm saying? You don't know how things happen. He never said it to us. Never.
No. I'm saying people have said that he was a kind
maybe
person.
he was, but I didn't know that. I never felt that kind of thing with him. No.
So let me ask you this: when fortune and fame was really at your front door, you made a crucial decision that altered your career when your baby boy Michael was sitting on the curb, crying. As you had your suitcase ready to be whisked off to another engagement. And that's when you decided to give it up.
Yeah, I didn't give it up, but I decided to stay in one place. In New York, and I had plenty of work at home, but yeah. He was the one that used to cry, because I used to take my daughter with me most of the time, if I could, when she wasn't in school. I took her with me, because I didn't want her there with all the boys. And yeah, he was just tired. Michael's a mama's boy, more or less. That's what his wife called him.
Oh, I don't know if that's good.
Strong mama's boy. They didn't take no mess. But yeah, and I decided that I would come. And then sometimes, women get to the place they want to be their own. And I was the boss. And I had certain standards as I went by, And so did they. But although they were single, I was married. Okay, so I said, well, they wanted to dress a certain way. We did all this, and I can wear that. My kids looking at me on television looking like that. No. And I could, so I said, well, I'm going to leave. I left them. I worked out there with them for the whole time Elvis was there. I worked out there with them. And then I went back on the 25th birthday. They asked me to come back. Elvis did. I went back and worked with him then. But he was dead then, I think. and they doing that thing. They do the screen.
Oh, okay.
They're
Yes.
still doing it.
I don't
But
know
all
what
the
they
Smiths-
show on for his birthday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they called me this time for the 30th.
Really?
Yeah, but I couldn't do it. That was when my daughter passed, and I had to go.
Oh, naturally.
Yeah.
What would be your advice to newcomers in the music industry
Well,
that
music-
want to sing, and in an industry that could be unforgiving because you're as good as your last hit song?
True.
What would you
And
tell
the
them?
business has changed so much now.
Yeah.
The business is nothing like it used to be. You used to have a chance to go and do a record and demo and be put out, and perhaps it would be a hit, perhaps it wouldn't. And you could go and, follow it, but to make it, to promote it. It's different now. I don't even know what this business is about now. I really don't. I don't know, because it's all so different,
Yes.
but difficult.
Whitney was inspired by the movie Sparkle, and she purchased the rights for that movie because she was inspired by being a girls group. When you think about it now, do you think that she may have been drawn to that movie because in some way it mirrored some of her own struggles?
Perhaps, I don't know. We never talked about it. We never discussed that.
No?
No.
What was one of your, as from a mother's perspective, one of your proudest Whitney moments?
Every moment she stood on that stage and sang.
Okay, we're going to bring this to a close before we get some questions and answers. And what is it that you want people to take away from this book when they read it?
Well, as far as what? From the book?
From the book. When they read this book, what do you want them to take away from it?
It's my life. I started out not writing about her. I started out, if you read my book, I started out writing about me.
Yes.
And how I became in this business and how it progressed and all that kind of business. And when the publishers said, well, while you're writing, and during that time, and then Whitney passed, and they asked me, would I consider? I said, well, let me think about it a while. And I considered it a while, and I started to write. And just remembering her and the things that she did, which were wonderful.
Yes.
And all of the things that she thought about, and she was just so giving to people. Whitney did not like she didn't like confusion. She didn't like fussing and all of that kind of thing. So she was really wonderful, because she was mine, and I loved her. I thought she was wonderful no matter what. But she really was.
Yes.
And so many other people thought the same thing.
Exactly.
If you listen to the radio on the XM station yesterday, which was her birthday,
On Friday?
she would have been 50 years old. They had everybody come in. Lots of people came in and talked, and they had all of that on the radio. Now, I didn't have the station, but I was on it. I had to go, and Dion was on it, and so many people were on it who spoke so wonderfully of her. So it made me feel really, really
Great.
good.
That's wonderful.
So that's all.
Well, we all loved her. We all loved Whitney Houston.
Nobody raises their children. There's so many drug addicts out there, or who take drugs. Not a mother or a father that I know raise their children to do that. That's not why you bring kids in the world. But sometimes they fall.
Yes. We all.
And you can't kill them. You got to try to bring
Lift
them
them
back
up.
up.
Lift them up.
And
Dr.
I'll
Houston.
always lift mine up.
I thank you so much for being here with us today, really.
Thank
I'm
you.
honored to have you here. And before you leave, we like to just give you just a little token of our love. So when you go away from Red Bank, you'll remember us for something.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. How beautiful.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you so much. I hope that I have done and said something to our young people and our older people too. We have to support our people, our kids. There's so much out there, and sometimes they just cannot resist. You know, you got people out there that hang on you and work on you and do it. And all our children are not that strong. You know, so you have to give them some strength and some support.
Yes.
If you do that, maybe we'll have better kids, you know.
Yes.
They don't have to, everybody does things like that on drugs. They're not bad.
Right, no.
It's no bad, you know.
No,
If
not
they get
at all.
into something they think they can handle and they can't.
Right.
So just remember that. And young girls and young boys, I mean, think better of yourself. Don't put yourself down like that, because that's exactly what it is.
Great advice. Great advice. And now I want to take a couple of questions. Anybody have a question they'd like to ask Dr. Houston?
Don't ask no stupid questions.
Yeah, now she already told you. I didn't have to say it.
What I want to say, Dr. Houston, is you have led such an exemplary life, and you always let God shine through you, no matter what. Because I followed, I'm 51 years old. First time I heard you was on the radio singing Tomorrow from Annie, and I brought the 45. I still have it home in the sleeve, and I just followed you. Before there was a Whitney Houston, and I feel so honored to be here today.
Wow.
Just continue to let your light shine.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I got a son the same age you have. You are.
You don't realize how many people you touched just by what you just said.
Thank you so very much. That was my intent. Yes. I speak up a little bit. You know I'm getting old.
Doctor.
I go to New Hope Baptist Church as well. My father's a deacon there, Deacon Talifaro.
Deacon Talifaro is her
Oh,
father.
yeah. I sure do.
He used to sing in the choir with you, but I remember Whitney when I was going to church as a young child.
Okay.
How shy she was. When we used to bring her down to choir, she used to always hold her head down. He said, Nippy, she used to always do like to make her lift her head up, and she gave such good presence. And my aunts and several of my aunts and uncles sang in the choir during New Hope Baptist Church. So I just want to bring greetings to my father, Deacon Talifaro.
So she just
Thank you so much.
bringing love from Deacon Talifaro.
Dr. Houston,
Yes.
I would love to know if this is true. It was said that your daughter had an 8-octave range.
8-octave range. It was said that Whitney had an 8-octave range.
I say 8. She could go pretty, you know.
Get up there.
I think it's like more the 4-octave range that you can have. Yeah. Yeah.
I'll take one more.
Good afternoon, Dr. Houston.
Good afternoon.
I'm speaking as a mother. I hope you can hear me. And my question is,
I'll-
how do you reconcile life before and after Whitney?
How do you reconcile life before and now after Whitney?
Well, you know,
Well, you know what? I think I might help you out with this only because in the book you said, I had it here and I thought it was, seeing my daughter in death gave me strength.
well, that's all I could have at that point. I'm a firm believer that God had her, and I know she's not coming back, so I have to go on. It's been very difficult. Yesterday was her birthday, and she would have been 50 years old. And it's been very, very difficult for me. Sometimes I wake up crying, sometimes I go to bed crying. in the middle of the night or wherever it comes. But I never question God because I know he never makes mistakes. I believe totally in him. For every ounce in me, I do. I know that he loved her, and I know that she loved him, and I know that I love him, so I depend on him to bring me out of anything that I'm in. It was very difficult for me, and it still is. But I'm on the mend. I'll never forget her, and I'll never be able to really forget it. But I don't think any mother or any father or whatever, if you got anything in here about your children, mothers are really vicious about their children, you know. And I was one of those mothers.
Yes. So we want to give Dr. Houston a great big round of applause.
Thank you very much.
And thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
This is great.
Beautiful.
And thank you for having me.
Anytime.
And thank you all for coming and listening to me.
Did you hear that? We love you.
And I love you.
We love you. We wanted to lift you up today with love, all the love that we can give you today.
Please, and as you lift me up, always lift my daughter up.
Yes. And that's what we're doing.
Yeah.
All right?
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.